Now, I've got Councillor Linda and then Councillor Penny and then perhaps... sorry. I thought that was an apology. Councillor John.
Okay.
Wait.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just one of the achievements that appears to be missing off the list is the recent announcement that Mount Smart has been awarded 2 international matches in the Rugby League World Cup in 2017. First time since 2010. And in that respect, I think we have to give due recognition to RFA. Their spokesperson announced Mount Smart Stadium has proved itself as a versatile venue which continues to attract great sport and entertainment events. It is among the busiest venues not only in the region but across the world for hosting major outdoor music concerts and maintains excellent turf and facilities to host sports teams including the Vodafone Warriors and the Wellington Phoenix. And I must recognise RFA in the short space of 5 months, Mr Mayor, turning around a stadium that was going to have the bulldozers put through it for Speedway into this world-class sporting and event within that very short space of time. So full due recognition to RFA for that amazing, miraculous turnaround.
Yep, look, I mean, look, you stay here long enough, Councillor John, and you'll see miracles.
But it was when they took it over.
It's outstanding. Thank you very much for your generous accolade there, Councillor John. Councillor Linda.
Thank you. And I do, on a sad note, just want to note the sudden passing of Bruce Dale. He was the former president of the West Auckland Principals Association, many years deputy principal at Waitakere College, and for even many years, the principal at Henderson Intermediate. He went down to Waikato to teach down there, and lo and behold, he is not with us anymore, sadly. But, so I just wanted to acknowledge him because he made a huge contribution to education in the West, in his schools and in a wider level. But on a lighter note, I was at a Glen Eden meeting last night in the community, and a woman there just couldn't say enough about the website, the information that's been put up about the unitary plan, and she said, I'm not technical at all, but it was so wonderful. I could find all my maps really easily. I could really understand what it was. So I want to congratulate Stephen and his staff that it hasn't crashed.
That's right.
And it's really, and this woman said, an older lady said, it was really easy for me to look at. So that's great. We've had a win there in communicating. So thank you.
Well, we'll grab that, wrap that up in a beautiful, great big piece of wrap and stick it under the Christmas tree. Thank you very much, Councillor Linda. And last, Councillor Penny H.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, Councillor Cooper
and
I are on exactly the same wavelength on this one. There is water to go under the bridge and there's 3 or 4 weeks to go, but I did just want to acknowledge the milestone yesterday and the fact, yes, that the website hasn't crashed yet, and to our staff who have worked like Trojans to get to the stage. I think it's a Herculean effort and they deserve all the accolades that I'm sure will come their way eventually. I also just want to hand out another bouquet, and I know Cullum has spoken and I know he's been acknowledged, but Cullum is a quiet achiever, and he just simply gets on with the mahi that needs to be got on with without a lot of heat and light and drama. And I think with the dog amnesty, we need to acknowledge the meeting of a brave politician and clever staff. And the dog amnesty wasn't necessarily well trumpeted, it wasn't hugely consulted on, it was just a damn good idea that a clever politician and clever staff got on and did. And I know a few people were a little bit sort of, where did that come from? Sometimes you just have to do clever stuff. So Stephen and Cullum, I want to say thank you for seeing a bright idea that came from our dog, from our animal welfare people. You carried it out and you executed it fantastically well. So sometimes we just need to acknowledge good process. Thank you.
Excellent. Good. And look, Councillor Penny W had a hand up. So.
I will be the last, probably. Look, there's 3 lines there in achievements, recycling, change, a milestone. Those 3 lines don't show the story that's gone on. This was huge, particularly in the north where they weren't used to the bins. The staff went over and above the call of duty They had open days in Wellsford, Snells Beach and Kumeu and Helensville. They visited many sites where people were having trouble with long driveways, elderly people not understanding what was happening. They went out and delivered bins where the bins were not delivered. And I really want to give an accolade to Parul Sood. She was fantastic, and she still is. And you get hold of her, and the next hour or 2 hours they've collected the rubbish. It is a change, and when you effect a huge change like that, there's always going to be glitches. But the staff have been fantastic in this one, and the 3 lines don't do it service.
All right, thank you, Penny W. I did have about 3 final hands so far, so the final hand is Councillor Cathy.
Yesterday, the Chief Executive announced the removal of sugary drink machines from all Auckland Council facilities. All I want to say to that is, yee-ha! Well done.
How dare you do that?
Wants it for weightlifting. Look at the picture. 2 bags of sugar.
Well done. And look, to Steve as the Chief Exec,
Yeah, that's right.
because he is our employee, and therefore we pass our formal messages through to him. This is not a CEO performance review, but Steve, so much in this document, and to those of you who are watching out there from the council organisation, as you're busy about your work, we want to acknowledge that this has been a very special month, and that's just not off this month's work, but 6 years, and things are really starting to show some positive outcomes. So to you, Steve, as our Chief Exec, and to all the staff, congratulations. Right, councillors, move on now into public input. We have got, in effect, 3 matters of input today. The first one will be Penny, who will give us the benefit of her view on Herring's panel and proposed unitary plan. And then we will have input from also Michael, local board member Michael Wood on item 11, and local board chair Simon on item C1. So Penny, welcome.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I didn't realise that Penny was going to speak on the issue about the on our process for considering the unitary plan. If I had, I would have raised the conflict of interest matter earlier. I'm really concerned about a matter I heard on Radio New Zealand yesterday about one of our councillors making a submission on Manawhenua with certain words in it that...
okay, so look, I've considered that we've heard Penny over the last 6 years on most everything. And on the issue of the unitary, I don't actually think she has ever, in my time here, heard her speak on the unitary plan. Now, in raising the point that you raised, Penny, we are now in effect sitting as a judicial body. I don't want a view from you about the rights or the wrongs of the unitary plan. You have, you're going to reflect on your view on the process from this point in. Now, if you step outside of that, I'm just going to have to cut you straight off.
That's my issue. My issue is not the unitary plan, it's the process around the unitary plan.
Yeah, but that's a significant issue generally. I mean, you know, the process could mean a whole lot of things. And I don't know specifically where exactly Penny will go on this.
Mr. Mayor, it's not about Penny and what she's going to say. It's about a councillor sitting near me who has made a submission about Manawhenua and Maori issues, and therefore will have a view on.
Look,
This is
not about item 13. This is about public input.
It says it's about. When you made the announcement, you said that Penny was going to be talking about the process.
This is just public input, right? And we're not debating, discussing anything at this point. This is an opportunity for the public, in this instance, Penny, to come and give us the benefit of their views.
But there's also interaction between Penny and the council.
The only thing you can interact on is asking a question. There's nothing more than that. So, Councillor, look, I appreciate from whence you're coming from, but I don't think there is an issue here. This is public input, and I think it's important that we just do public input, let Penny have a say, and keep a close eye on what she's got to say, and then move on to the rest of the matter. Penny.
Thank you. Right, regarding the lawful due process by which we've arisen to the point that we are today, all I'd like to do is to refer to the legislation. And if councillors may recall, the Local Government Auckland Council Act 2009, Section 3, Purpose E, to require the Auckland Council to adopt a spatial plan for Auckland. Section 79 of that same Act, Section 79 4C, says the spatial plan must provide an evidential base to support decision-making for Auckland, including evidence of trends, opportunities and constraints within Auckland. You will recall that I was successful in getting a Social Services Select Committee report on a petition that I initiated asking why was reliance being made by Auckland Council on the Department of Statistics high population growth projection of an extra 1 million people coming to Auckland by 2040, as opposed to the Department of Statistics recommendation, which was a medium population growth projection of an extra 700,000 people. And the outcome of that select committee was that they thought it was reasonable for council to rely on that projection. And on a telephone conference call, I said, I don't care whether you think it's reasonable. My petition asked whether or not it was lawful, and what is the point of MPs making the law if you don't keep to it yourselves? And that still applies. And I think that in terms of due process, we do have a major problem. We have central government and local government that need to work together on these issues. The whole purpose of laws, in my understanding, is so you have got clear and transparent guidelines about how things should be done. And if they're not stuck to, we have major issues. So as far as where we are today, in terms of lawful due process, what concerns me is that you, the governing body, are, according to Section 15 of the Local Government Auckland Council Act, you are the decision-making body. Section 15 states decision-making responsibilities of governing body, subsection 1, the governing body is responsible and democratically accountable to A, the decision-making of Auckland Council in relation to any regulatory responsibility, duty or power conferred on or applying to the Council under this Act or any other enactment. So what concerns me is the idea that anything concerning the recommendations of the independent hearing panel going to any other committee of council apart from this, particularly a committee where unelected Māori statutory body members have a vote where they don't have it here, I believe is basically unlawful and fundamentally flawed. Another problem that I have is that my understanding is that advice has been given to you, councillors, that you cannot discuss the recommendations of the independent hearing panel with any constituents. And my view as a tradie on that one was, how does that work? That's you as individuals. You are here as the council is the governing body, a collective body, not an individual body. And where I think things get really messy are when you look at the fact that Auckland Council is a member of the New Zealand Property Council. We know that it came to a vote on the governing body, and you were given legal advice from a very senior law firm that stated no, there was no conflict of interest, but they sort of forgot to tell you that this particular law firm was also a member of the New Zealand Property Council. What concerns me, and this is straight from the page of the New Zealand Property Council, the website stating, we have access to government officials and ministers, the collective force of the industry behind us, knowledge and information. We're kept in the loop with regulators. access to experts, we engage in a busy event program on topical issues. Now, my concern is this, that you, as I understand it, didn't get the recommendations of the independent hearing panel immediately. That was available to council planning staff who are going to advise you. Well, hang on a sec.
Yep.
So what discussions, this is a
Penny,
fair point, no,
we
what discussions have
have
taken
had
place
5
between
minutes now.
okay,
Thank you.
council staff
Just
and the New
finished now.
Zealand Property Council prior to you getting advice? How does that work? Where is the local and local government when the concerns of local communities seem to be trumped by those working in the interest
Yeah, thank
of
you, Penny.
property? Just finishing last sentence.
Thank you.
Finishing, yeah. Commercial property developers, international investors, speculators, bankers, land bankers and money launderers. Where is local and local government?
Okay, thank you very much.